Hello and welcome to another video. And in today's video, we shall be discussing about one of my favorite books of 2021. When my friend Arjun first suggested it, I started reading it rampantly for the first 150 pages because I loved it so much. Well, because I value being a clear thinker more than being an intelligent thinker. That's why this book is really important because it talks about the biggest enemy of rational thinking. Fallacies and biases. Well, if you don't know what fallacies and biases are common thinking flaws that every human being has. And this book, The Art of Thinking Clearly, contains about 99 of them. Can you believe it? 99 biases. And to tell the truth, there are not only 99, but more than that. Just think about it, how many biases and fallacies we go through every day. But in today's video, we shall be discussing about 7 biases that I really loved from this book. So without any further ado, let's get started with. Bias number 1. Swimmer's body illusion. Most of the people admire a swimmer's body. Lean and thin, but still strong and fast. And that's why most people conclude that if they start swimming too, they will also get that type of body shape. But it is a big flaw in our thinking system. Professional swimmers don't have perfect body because they swim extensively. Rather, they are good swimmers because of their physique. How their bodies are designed is a factor for selection, not the result of the activity. Similarly, female models who look flawless advertise cosmetics for people to buy. And thus, many female consumers think that these products will make you look beautiful. But it is not the cosmetics that makes the woman look beautiful. Quite simply, the models are born beautiful and that's why they are the candidate for the cosmetics advertisement. As with the swimmer's body, beauty is a factor for selection here. It is not the result of the cosmetic or the action. So whenever we confuse between selection factor and results, we fall prey to one of the greatest fallacies which Nassim Taleb calls as the swimmer's body illusion. Bias number 2. Social proof. Social proof is sometimes often called as the herd instinct. It is a belief that the people are acting in the right way when most of the people do the same thing. In other words, the more the people follow a certain idea, the better we deem the idea to be. And the more people that display a certain behavior, the more ideal that behavior becomes. And this is of course absurd. Social proof is the evil behind stock market bubbles and panics. It exists in fashion, management, religion, hobbies, etc. and can completely paralyze a whole sector of people. Sometimes a whole sector of people commit mass suicide. Well, but the question arises, why do we act like this? Well, because in the past when we are hunters and gatherers, it was a really great strategy to follow others. Think about it. Suppose 50,000 years ago, you are with your hunter and gatherer friends. And suddenly everyone bolted and ran away. What would you do? Would you have stayed there thinking about whether you were seeing an actual lion or something that looked like a lion? No, you wouldn't have. You would have rushed back with your friends. Later on, when you were safe, you would have reflected back on what that animal was and were you right in running away from it. And if you had acted differently and stayed there was a majority of chance that you might have died. And that's why it was a great survival technique back in the days, but that deep-rooted thinking of following the herd has stayed with us until now. So whenever a company claims that its products are the best because it is the most popular in the market, be skeptical about it. And always remember these wise words. If 1,000 people say something foolish, it's still foolish. Bias number 3. Sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy happens when we continue something because of our past decisions, rather than thinking about if it will actually be an advantage to us in the present or in the future. Think about it. Recently, one of my friends confessed to me that he had paid for his internet data. That's why he had the desperate need to complete it daily. I mean, it's because he thinks that if he doesn't complete his daily data and if he doesn't expire his daily data limit, then his money will be lost. That's how sunk cost fallacy works. It is the most dangerous when we have invested a lot amount of money, energy or love in something. And this investment becomes a reason to carry on even if we are dealing with a lost cause. The more we invest, the greater the sunk costs are and the larger our desire to continue becomes. That's why Think about it. If you're continuing something because you think you will lose the amount of time, love, or anything you have invested in it for a long amount of time, then please stop. No matter how much you have invested in the past, only your assessment of the future costs count whether you want to continue the task or not. Don't fall for this fallacy, because it is one of the reasons people continue toxic relationships where they get cheated or they get treated badly, because they think that they have invested a lot amount of time and love and energy in it, and if they leave, they will lose everything. Bias number 4. Confirmation bias. Jake wants to lose weight. He selects a particular diet and checks his weight every day on the scale in the morning. If he has lost weight, he considers the diet a success and pats himself in the back. And if he has gained weight, he considers it as a fluctuation and forgets about it. For months, he lived under the illusion that his diet is working, whereas his weight remained the same. And Jack is a victim of the confirmation bias. The confirmation bias is the mother of all misconceptions. It is the tendency to misinterpret new information so it becomes compatible with our existing theories. In other words, we filter out every other information that contradicts our present views or beliefs. And this is a very dangerous practice. Facts doesn't seem to exist because they are completely ignored. And it is one of the reasons behind superstitious beliefs. We believe that if a cat crosses our path, then we'll have some mishappening in our life. Well, let's understand it from this point of view. One day, a cat crosses your path and you think about it. And coincidentally, that same day, something bad happens with you. And you relate the cat crossing event with this event, which doesn't even make sense, because even if the cat wouldn't have crossed your road, this mishappening would have happened with you. So what can you do about this bias? To avoid confirmation bias, you need to do this simple exercise. Write down your beliefs, whether in terms of marriage, diet, religion, politics, everything. Write it down and set out to find evidences that your beliefs are incorrect. Yes, if you do this exercise, you will certainly find that many of your beliefs are really baseless and you are only giving into the confirmation bias. Bias number 5, the outcome bias. Supposedly, say 1 million monkeys start to evaluate the market. They buy and sell stocks like crazy and of course at random. What happens? After 1 week, about half of the monkeys would have performed really good and half would have performed really bad. And the group that loses will go home. And if you keep repeating the same game, after 10 weeks, about 1000 monkeys will be left who would have invested really wisely and would have gained extreme results. And after 28 weeks, only 1 monkey will remain, who would have always chose the right stock without any fail. So let's call him the success monkey. What do you think how the media will react to it? They will pounce on it and try to learn the secret of the success monkey. Perhaps the monkey eats more bananas than his friends. Perhaps this monkey stays in one part of the cage that others don't. Or maybe because he swings less. And they will relate all of these random factors with the success monkey. Because they think that there might be some secret to his success, right? I mean, he performed really great for about 28 weeks. How can there be no secret? And this is when we fall victim to what we call as the outcome bias. We tend to evaluate decisions based on the results rather than on the decision process. And this fallacy is often known as the historian error. In conclusion, never judge a decision based on its results, especially when randomness and external factors play a major role. A bad result doesn't automatically indicate a bad decision, and vice versa. So rather than thinking about what is the right investment strategy according to Warren Buffett or what are the books that Warren Buffett suggests you to read, remember your reasons to invest in one company. There may be many reasons to invest in a company. Bias number 6. Loss aversion bias. Loss aversion bias is a tendency of human beings to strongly prefer avoiding losses more than gains. Simply, we human beings try to avoid losses more than we try to make gains in our life. But why does this happen? Well, because it goes back to our evolutionary psychology. In the past, if you were to make a bad decisions, then you would be as good as dead. People who were reckless used to die faster than people who are careful. Only the people who remained cautious throughout their life survived. And we are their far descendants. Losing $100 will make you more sad than gaining $100. In fact, it has been proven that a loss weighs about twice as much as the gains. And so for this reason, if you want to convince someone about something, then don't focus on the advantages. Instead, highlight how it helps them avoid disadvantages. We can't fight evil because evil is more powerful than the good. We tend to remember one bad behavior of a person rather than remembering their 100 good behaviors. Bias number 7. The self-serving bias. In short, we attribute success to ourselves and failure to external factors. And this is the self-serving bias. Even if you have not heard about this, you might have felt this. I mean, when you got an A in your exams, you always contributed it to your hard work, your skills and your talent. And if you got bad grades, you would blame the teachers or the grading system for it, saying that the test was clearly unfair and the questions were really hard. So why do we attribute our success to ourselves and failure to external factors? Well, there are many theories for it, but the simplest explanation is that it feels good and it doesn't do any major damage to us. So how can one deal with self-serving bias? The author says that you need to have friends that will genuinely speak the truth to your face rather than hiding it from you. Well, if you have that kind of friends, you are genuinely lucky. And author says another method, that he says that if you have at least one enemy, then invite him over to dinner or coffee at your place and ask him to list out all your bad qualities. And you will realize how much of a bad person you are. And this concludes today's video. In this video, we discussed about 7 biases from the book, and the book has 99. So I would highly recommend you to read this book. And if you want to get really good book summaries, please subscribe to us if you haven't yet. And see you in another video, and until then, keep reading and stay safe.